When my parents came, there was always the tension in the house because of money. Seeing what they came to and then always having the fighting about money into perspective to me to say that I don't want this when I get older. Like, I don't want to grow up and worry about money like that. So school was during the day and then a part-time job in the afternoon. And then I had a night shift job from 12 at night till 5 in the morning. So I would only sleep like a couple hours like before I had to go back in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I'll sleep a little bit and then go back to work. We do have an abundance of things, but we're focusing on the 3% of things that really don't matter as opposed to the 97%. I was selling chocolate-covered almonds at 13 years old in downtown Toronto. It puts you out of your shell and it makes you kind of go out there and look at what happens in the real world. I was always just, surviving and wanting to make more money and thought that was the cure.
Hi, Sherry. Welcome to Bell Let's Talk. Today I have a special guest. He's a man who has a lot of knowledge. Like, truly, I'm always surprised of the things he knows. And I want him to introduce himself. Hello.
How are you? Thank you, Bella, for having me. My name is Chris Desouza.
Yes.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for coming as well. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Me? Well, I'll tell you what. I am in the mortgage business. I'm in real estate. It's something I had a passion for, and what our team does is we show buyers how to grow their portfolios and buy multiple properties.
Oh, okay. Like, would you teach them step by step?
Very big on the coaching and training piece, but it's a mindset, it's a thought process, and and having a thickness of skin to be able to understand all the things that happen within that transaction. So we build out a roadmap to show them all the things that you can do and how, and then you follow that process along the way. So it's not a tomorrow thing; it's a little bit of a down the road thing.
Okay, but then what? Can you tell us a little bit about what you mean by it's a mindset?
The mindset around it is, when you're buying real estate, you have to have what I call a thickness of skin.
Okay.
Right? You have to understand the risks around it and all the things that could potentially go wrong, where we've seen the market go really well and people have made money in real estate, and a lot of people now with the market changing have also now, taking losses on the real estate side as well. So, you have those cycles that real estate will go up and down, but it's a matter of being able to understand, from a mindset perspective, if and when, or not if, but when that does happen, are you able to ride the wave and are you prepared for it?
Okay.
So preparing the buyer and the investor on how to buy multiple properties is what we really try to focus on. And I really have only done this for the reason being that when I was buying real estate, nobody taught us this stuff. So I said, what, let me do that piece and give back to show people what, people really need to know before you actually buy. Because there's some people that really shouldn't be buying real estate.
So what do you mean by, how do you know the person should or should not?
Well, that's just it. Like when you go through our whole process, we kind of get an idea of we're doing an assessment essentially, right?
Yeah.
Are you fit for it? Is there something that you can stomach? But we help you build all of those layers along the way to get you to that point to be able to say, yes, okay, I'm ready to now go and buy this property. And I understand all of the things that will happen along the way.
Okay. And then would you say, is it smarter to maybe invest in a property or just buy it and live in it, like make it your home? Or is it smarter just to put somebody in and rent?
It's really personal preference, right? We have a lot of people, like investors, that they don't own their own home, but they'll have 7 properties. And then they rent wherever they want to rent. If they decide to live in one part of the city of Toronto and they decide to relocate to another part, they're free to do so, right? If they want to upsize, downsize, they can do that throughout their tenancy, like after the 1 year is up or 2 years is up when they're renting.
Okay.
So a lot of people like to do that based on their lifestyle. But in today's market, it's also first-time home buyers getting into the market. I'm seeing a lot of them, taking the initiative and getting in now, whereas a lot of investors are starting to offload their properties and liquidate those homes.
Would you say age is a limitation or is it financial?
we guide a lot of university students on how to build wealth in real estate and just really how to get started, like the basics of understanding your credit and credit cards and how to maintain the credit and, how the Equifax, which is our credit facility, how do they calculate our scores, right? What do you do and how do you build that piece to know the importance behind having credit in order to buy a car, buy a house, whatever you're looking to buy, you need credit and you need at least two pieces. So how do you maintain both and be responsible for making both the payments on it? First-time home buyers are really the ones that we, from a university's perspective, is just to help them get into it first, help them understand the things that they need to know, and then build on that. So that way when they're done and then, they get married and all the things, they're already kind of pre-prepared in a way.
I have a question. What was your journey as like? How did you start?
Well, I saw, when my parents came into this country in 1972, the stories that I heard when they had to come, they got kicked out of East Africa and Uganda. So they came here with nothing. So when we were growing up, I would hear all the stories of what they went through. And I was like, man, like this is tough. Like this is a rough time. So, money was always an issue growing up. So I always had this mindset to say, well, like, let me just make money so that way I don't have to worry about it like how they are.
Wow.
Right. But the thought process that when they came to the country, nobody educated them on like the financial system and, where do you invest your money?
Yes.
When if you were buying investment properties, it was only for the CEOs and the businessmen of the world, right? It was like people who you thought would have money. But, in my world, what I do for people now is I'm showing them how to invest in real estate because nobody knows. But once you have a plan in place that we can help you get to that point, which my parents didn't have that guidance. So I learned from that and I said, well, you know what, let me help. Get into that space, let me understand, like, as I grew older and my, when my parents came, there was always the tension in the house because of money. So, as when we were older and they got divorced, I was like, well, what do I do? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to stay kind of thing? I could have stayed with one of them, but I thought it was old enough to start my own journey.
How old were you around that time?
I was 19.
Divorced? Okay.
I was 19 when it happened.
How did you make you feel? How did you take it?
A lot of it is like from what I've gone through over the years is a lot of inner work, like getting rid of all the things that happened to you when you were younger and the experiences that you went through, and just knowing like what it is what's your self-worth and what can you do and how can you give back. So my way was to help people in the same scenarios that wanted to get into real estate, but just didn't know how, right? So that's what we do. But
did they as you said, did they divorce because not having enough money?
There was always fights about money, right? Like a lack of, right? It was always no, we don't have it. No, we don't have it. But I think back and I'm like, but we had so much. Wow. I think like so much meaning like enough to put food on the table. Yeah. But my dad also worked the 2 jobs and then my mom worked too. And then, we were at babysitters and then, so we were away from our parents during the day, and I think that's just how it was at the time. Like when our parents came to the country, that's what it was the norm because all of our family and friends were doing the same thing, right? Yes. You come here to the country and you work. So I learned from that to say like, they were renting for a while and into different, first it was in different parts of Mississauga and Etobicoke, and then they bought a property. But then when they bought, it was like, it was a good accomplishment, a good achievement, but it was still like interest rates were so high. Interest rates were like 18%, 17%, but the price of homes were much lower, of course, too, right? But it was seeing what they came to and then always having the fighting about money really put things into perspective to me to say that I don't want this when I get older. Like, I don't want to grow up and worry about money like that. So what can I do now and what can I learn from their mistakes? But I had all these internal fears, if you want to call it, where I wouldn't really speak out and say my thoughts or what I would want to do. I would just do it, right? Yeah. And then it worked. Like it would always work somehow or another. But I was also working at a younger age, so that's what really motivated me to say, okay, let me build up and work as much as I can, understand all the things that they didn't learn, and how can it apply to me, and how can I figure out what I'm going to do. So I ended up looking into buying real estate at the time, but I don't think I would have done so if my parents didn't get separated. But at the time, I was also working 2 jobs.
Yourself at the age of 19?
Yeah, I was 19. I was working 2 jobs and then going to school as well too. Yeah, so so it was that part. I'm glad I did it. Like, it was a good experience, but I wouldn't suggest it to anybody to do that. I would tell you to focus on the one.
Yeah. How was your schedule like? Going to school, 2 jobs. How did you manage? How did you?
So school was during the day and then a part-time job in the afternoon. And then I had a night shift job from 12 at night till 5 in the morning. So I would only sleep like a couple hours like before I had to go back in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I'll sleep a little bit and then go back to work. So it was a good grind. But you know what? I did all the things at a younger age too. Like I had to buy a car and all the things too, right? So.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that at the age of 19. So looking at your friends from school, right? They have a good life where they don't need maybe to work, or maybe they work 1 job, And I'm pretty sure you didn't take OSAP. You worked so you can pay for your school.
Yeah.
Didn't you feel like challenged a bit? Like feel like, why me? Or
yeah, but that's where the credit card came into play. So that's where I used the credit card for that stuff along the way, right? Just to keep me going.
Yeah.
Because I said I did a car payment, I'd pay for gas, insurance, like all those things. There was no cell phones, but I had a pager at the time. So you still pay for all these things, right, along the way.
Okay.
So you're working to pay to go to school and to be able to get to school. And I never wanted to take the bus. So I was like, okay, I'll buy a car and like figure out how I can pay for the car, the insurance, and the gas.
Wow.
And I did. And I went to school.
Wow, a young age. So that's why you took credit, is to learn about credit?
Yeah, so I went into finance and then I went to business. Or initially, I went into business and then I went into the finance side. And then I was into the corporate world. So I was in the corporate world for a good 7 years before I went out on my own.
Okay.
And then in the corporate world, that's where you learn all the things. And then I just went solely on the commission side, which is why I was bringing up the whole piece of my parents coming to the country and not having the thought process or the education around it. Because for us, it was like, well, how do we get started and what do we do?
Wow.
Right?
But how old were you? Like, say you started realizing like, okay, like my parents weren't able to get here. What made you make it? Like you made that decision through looking at their life, right?
Yeah. So it was more of like going back to the mindset. It was more of them like having like the scarcity mindset, right? When we're so thankful and grateful for all the things that we have, and we do have an abundance of things, but we're focusing on the 3% of things that really don't matter as opposed to the 97% that do. Initially, challenging at that point. But I got into credit. Like I said, I was in the corporate world. And then I decided to, when I was buying real estate, I decided to build my portfolio. And at that time, when you're buying a property, it was, okay, if you're going to buy a property, you have to sell yours first to go buy the other one.
Oh.
So I was like, but no, like, why? Why can't I keep this one too?
Yeah.
Right? Like somebody's got to show me how to do this.
Yeah.
But it worked out where I ended up selling that property.
Okay.
And then because I put more money down on the next property that I purchased, the equity in that property, I used it to go buy the second property. Right? So as I was building my own portfolio, I started working with other investors that wanted to learn how to build their portfolios. And 20 years later, like it's still going, and
You're enjoying
it has the ups and downs because we've seen the cycles, like I mentioned. So it's now seeing people like first time home buyers come into the market now.
Oh, okay. That's really important actually to know, because I always ask myself, like, what is something would you teach your younger self?
Exactly. Yeah. I just went through, I do meditation. I did deep meditation the other day, and it was really around how do you tap into your younger self, right? Because we've all grown up with these little scars and issues, examples of our parents having the scarcity mindsets. But, having a spiritual side and understanding what our parents have gone through, I think is also important to how you become successful in whatever business you want to be in.
Okay. For somebody who really want to start, like let's say they're a bit confused, because I hear that you were first in the credit bit. I feel like it lines up a little bit to what you are doing now. But if somebody's like confused a bit, like how do you like really point on, I want to do this one. I think this one will be the top, to make that decision of like, what should I do? What should I go to school for? What should I end up doing? Because I think like you enjoy what you're doing. How did you know like, okay, from this age, when I decided to come from learning about the credits, I can go into mortgage and I will enjoy it. Like, how did you know? Like,
Oh, well, I was always interested in real estate.
oh, okay. When you're younger?
So yeah, when I was younger. So I started in credit. And then, my mom had said to me one time when I was young, she's like, why don't you be a real estate agent? And I was like, no, like that's for old people, like you can't be a real estate agent, you're too young.
Yeah.
But little did we know, right, at the time, like, how lucrative it is and how good of a business it is. If you stick in it and you can muscle through it from a tenure perspective.
Yeah. What did you learn through this journey so far?
It's the trials and tribulations that you go through with real estate, in real estate, but in life specifically, the whole point of where you get to is from all the struggles that you've come from, right? So understanding what our parents went through, and then knowing what you went through as an individual. We worked at I started to work at a very young age, right? And I always had this mindset of I wanted a full-time job, I wanted a salary, I didn't want to be on commission, and here I am now where I'm fully on commissions. Right. But I was selling chocolate covered almonds at 13 years old in downtown Toronto, like on the corner of outside Union Station.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool, like to get that experience, but it puts you out of your shell, and it makes you kind of go out there and look at what happens in the real world and what people do and how people get paid and how the owner of the business that we were working for, how they made money, right? Because we would make 60 cents on every box, but they were making $1 on every box, right? So and then understanding the whole business concept around it. And, I always wanted to get into business at some point, my own business, or being independent where I'm not working for anyone. So that was something that I kind of wanted to work towards. But the corporate world really helped me out because I took a lot of the learnings from there and applied it into the business world.
Wow, that's really good. So what keeps you focused though? Like, because you were younger, right?
I think at that time, I didn't have as much faith that I have in the Lord today and now. But at that point, it was a little bit of a scarcity mindset now that I can think back of it. And I was always just, surviving and wanting to make more money and thought that was the cure, but it's not, it's the man above that helps you do all of that.
I know, that's true. Now you have your family of your own, I would say. How are you going to help your kids into knowing what, it's their passion? In our generation, one thing we see, it's a lot of people being confused, where everyone is driven to where there's money. So if somebody comes in and say, oh, data analysis at the moment, it has more money, you make more money, they will forget about their passion, let's say, in maybe being a nurse, and they will want to go through that. But it's like, you're not going to get the joy. Yes, we may have the money, but you're not going to have the fun, the joy. Yeah. So what is something you can help us? Like one thing you can teach us?
I think whatever you're good at, whatever you like doing, and then if you, whatever that area of expertise is, follow that passion or follow that path. Because then you'll find your passion out of it. Because we always think that we got to be the doctors and the lawyers and all the other things, but really it could be the simplest thing that you're just good at that makes a lot of money. You just don't realize that it will, right? So somebody could be in the corporate world, somebody could be an online, sell items online.
Yes,
it's what they think they're good at. They can be in the stock market, right? But it's just understanding all the divisions and the diversities of where you can invest your money and how you can make your money grow. I always say that money makes money. So the money we make, we got to let it do something a little bit, right? Just to keep it growing, because sitting in the bank is not going to do anything.
Wow.
Right? So helping the younger generation understand the value of money, because they don't have to work like the way we kind of did. Like a lot of our generation, our kids usually kind of get everything they want, or they have everything that they need. And, we kind of like them to focus on school and studying and, focusing on that areas, but they don't have that drive to work, right? Because school is more important for them, which is good. but they don't have that going to school and going to work factor.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and I love the term you just used. Money makes money. Can you?
Yeah, that's my logo. That's my slogan. Like I have a logo and a design that stands for money makes money. It's just a reminder to people. Like when I, for my clients, we have apparel and gear that we'll send out to them.
Yeah.
But it's just a reminder to say that money makes money. So we work for it. It's hard. It's hard work. What do we do with it for it to grow? Right. Real estate is one vehicle, but there's other areas that you can invest in, right? Whether it be the crypto or anywhere else in the stock market, for example.
Yeah. But if you were to start over now, let's say you're just starting over.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. How would you do it? Tell us step by step.
Oh, how would I do it if I started over? I wouldn't have got the 2 jobs. Oh. I would have, if I knew a little bit better and understood things a little bit differently, I think I would have just gone in where like I would not worry about this big loan that I'm going to have to pay at the end of my 4 years of studying, right? Because I went to school and I worked to pay for school. Right. Whereas if you can concentrate just solely on school, the money will come after once you've done your 4 years.
Yes.
Right. But it's again, the upbringing and the mindset around how you value money and how you treat money is really what it does for you later on. So I had to change all of those things along the way, like with that inner child that we were talking about earlier, and get over all those humps to get a better understanding of how to, if I was to go back, how to use the money that I did work for by investing it and not doing all the other things. Right.
So what's the rule for money?
Not to love it,
Okay.
but to respect it.
Okay.
Right? Treat it the way you would want it to be treated in the sense of what you're using it for. I think some people just use credit cards and spend their money on loosely items that is really not a necessity in the grand scheme of things, right? So we lose a lot of our money by buying unnecessary things.
Tell us a little bit, because I want to understand your mindset towards money. So what do you mean by to not use credit card? So when do you use credit card? When you don't use credit card?
Well, credit cards are great to have. You get the points out of it, and it's convenient, and you see all your transactions on one. It's separate from all of your other accounts. So that. But a credit card also can put you into debt because the bank is going to come back to you and say, "Oh well, you've been paying your payments on time. We're increasing your limit."
Okay.
Right? And there's times where they increase my limit and I said, no, like, I don't want you to increase my limit. I'm good with what I have.
Yeah.
But they will throw that out there to you to try and increase your limit, which essentially is putting you into forcing you or moving you towards being in more debt. Right? So now you got to make the money in order to pay for the credit card. So the thought process around the credit card is to use it like as if it's you're using your own bank account. Right, it's just that the money in your bank account is being used for the payment on that credit card. You're not double dipping and using the credit card, using the money in your account, and then paying the interest on the credit card on that balance that you used. Right, it's not. It's so easy to fall into because life happens and you have all this credit, so it's like I can go buy all the things that I want to buy, and then not realizing that the interest adds up, the debt adds up. You got to work more to pay it off.
So what is the limit, would you say, to stay at?
I think it's relative to your income.
Okay.
Right? Like how much income do you earn and based on what's your spending habits, like what's your lifestyle like, and to the credit card piece, like yes, you get the points and all the things, but you also have to maintain limits on that credit card to maintain your credit. So if you have a $10,000 credit card, you want to use it like you only have 7,000 on it, right? Because if you're too close to the limit, like if you're using your credit card and it's too close to that limit, it negatively affects your score. So the better way to do it is if the bank does increase your credit, do it to a point where you just max it out at the 70%.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that way it keeps your credit score high and you still make your payments on it.
But they usually say to try and not use 50%, I think. Like you can use 50%, but don't use the other 50 or 30%.
Yeah, well, they say the 70-30.
Okay.
Some say 50-50.
Yeah.
But I'm talking more from a credit score perspective.
Yeah,
Like the
okay.
70-30 is a fair number to work with. So it doesn't affect your score negatively.
Yeah.
Right? It'll still it'll maintain your score and it'll increase your score because you're now not too close to the limit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And then if you want to buy a house, what's the score that you need?
The minimum score is 680.
680. Oh.
Yeah, 680, which you should be able to have, and if not, then there's more than likely missed payments on credit cards or unpaid credit cards that are in collections and things like
Yes.
that.
In your own life, right? Have you ever been in a place where like your credit card was really bad or you missed a payment?
Yeah, when I was younger, for sure.
So then how did you come out? Like how did you organize yourself to?
Oh, I quickly realized that it doesn't make sense to use the credit card if you don't have that money also in the bank, right? Because the money goes quickly, and then sometimes people don't keep track. But I was much younger. Like I got a credit card when I was 18.
Okay.
So at the first year when you got it, it was like the best thing ever, right? So
I remember.
yeah, you're always using it constantly. But
Yeah.
yeah, to get out of it, it's really the rule is that I think is that works well is you can treat your credit card like your bank account. Right? So if you've got $1,000 in your bank account and you know that you're using 700 of it, then that 700 there's only 300 left, right? At the end in that account. But that payment date that the credit card's coming out of may be on the 22nd of the month, and you may have used the 700 already in the first 22 days, right?
Yes.
So it's important to be able to manage that piece, which is why credit is so important in Canada, because you need two pieces of credit.
Yeah.
And the reason why you need two is because you have the responsibility of making two payments, and they're both on different dates, right? So it's easy to make a payment on one date. But to make it on two different dates, that's where people start to miss payments.
I didn't know this actually.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
So, when you miss payments, like having two credit cards, you have a bigger responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's, but yeah, that's how a lot of people will miss payments is because they don't maintain the dates.
And then usually I think you can ask your own bank the dates, right?
No, it's on your statement when it comes. Like it'll tell you what your payment date is. Now everything's online.
Okay.
And then you get reminders. Like I get text messages telling me like your payment is due like, in advance. But you can set it up that way.
Okay. And then does it does your phone bill also include in that? Like can it affect your credit card? Like what's the things that can affect your credit card? Like
now it's a lot of your utilities. They're putting cell phone bills. Of course, cars are on there. But they're adding a lot of the smaller bills that were never on there before, and they're putting it on the credit bureau, which is like a process that's been happening over the last couple of years.
Okay, wow, good to know.
But what I do now from a credit perspective, I just have it where the total balance of whatever's on my credit card is paid in full every month automatically.
How do you do that?
So like I don't have to physically go in and do that. So I've set it up that way, where it just gets paid in full. So most people will pay the minimum payment. Here I'm saying, look, I'm not making just a minimum payment. I want the whole thing paid in full every month, right? So that way I'm not, your accounting is a little easier from that perspective.
So would you say like, okay, you have your own debit and credit card, right? So you will use your credit and then you will set it up where they take off money from your debit directly to your credit to pay it off fully, like in a month?
Yeah.
Oh.
From your checking account or your savings account.
Yeah.
It'll pay the credit card in full direct.
But usually people say like wealthy people don't need a credit card. Is that true?
Who's that?
Wealthy people.
Wealthy people have the black credit cards, the heavy ones, man. They're the metal ones that they use all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, cash is king.
Okay.
Right? So you want to be able to keep as much of your own cash, which is why people will leverage the credit and then use the credit to be able to expand and grow their businesses and buy, help grow their business, and then use their own money to pay for the credit card along the way.
And then is it smarter to get a house using your business card or like your personal card?
No, it's not, like you mean your business income versus your personal income?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like your business income, when you're qualifying for a mortgage in Canada, it's very different in how you get based on how you get paid. So like if you are working as a salaried employee, the requirements is just a job letter and a pay stub, right? But if you're someone like if you're self-employed,
Yeah.
well, now you need to be in business. You have to have the tenure within the business, and then you have to be able to have tax filings on the business to show what your business income is versus your personal income, in order to determine what you can actually qualify for. Right. So a lot of business owners will always try to reduce their income so that to try to eliminate the amount of tax that you're paying. Right. But there's two ways that you can qualify as a business owner, right? You can either show the $100,000 in income and pay tax on that $100,000 of income, or you can show less money, the $50,000 in income, but still use your business income to qualify, right? And that determines the difference between the two different types of banks that we have, which is A lenders and B lenders, right? So they have two different guidelines for how you can qualify. So it's all a matter of, do you pay tax on your full income
Yes.
and go with an A lender, or do you save on the tax? You're showing a little bit of less money, which you can go to an A lender, which will force you to go to a B lender, which will have a higher interest rate, slightly higher interest rate, and they charge a fee to facilitate the transaction. So it's again, like, these are the questions that you're asking me are all things that people would have to go through to actually understand, like, yeah, where do I fit? Like, how does this apply to me? And is it better to show the $100,000 in income, or is it better to show the 50,000?
Yes.
Right? And then we work it out to show you the differences between the two. Right? So again, like, coming from buying real estate and not having all of the guidance, right? It drove me and motivated me to help others in that space,
Okay.
right? To really be able to say, here's the things that you can do and here's how you can do them. Whether you do them or not, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? I mean, right away, you'll do it at some point in time, but it's not to say, like, if you're not ready to do it now, at least you have a plan to work towards to understand what you need to do and how you need to get there. So now it's a matter of, like, how do I take all of what I've learned, all the experience that I've gone through, and the self-help within my inner childhood, like, to be able to understand, be patient, a lot of people say, man, you're like a counselor, you're like a therapist, you're really easy to talk to, which I appreciate. But it's also because I've built a thickness of skin to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, the man above, the Lord is giving me the strength, to do it, to help
Yes.
people, to be in that position, to be able to take on and hear all of the struggles that other people are going through, and be able to help them navigate through all of the things. Like today, values of homes are not coming in, and people bought 4 years ago, and they're short on money. Like, what do you do? So it's a matter of coaching, training, educating, and also being able to be able to put all of the things that I've willing to help with to help them get to that next step. Along the way, it was rough. Like, the first, like, I would say 5-7 years was tough, and then when I left the corporate world, it was like in 2003, 4, and I just got into real estate at the time.
Yes.
Actually, I did my license while I was still working.
Wow.
My mortgage license while I was still working. And then for about a year and a half, I was trying to do both. Then I jumped in, I took all of my savings and I jumped in with 2 feet. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to make it or break it. Like, either this is going to happen or not. And then 2008 came,
Yes.
which the U.S. economy, where we had the U.S. economy crashed.
Yes.
Now we're like, what do we do? Like, I don't have enough experience. I've only been in the business now 2 to 3 years, like,
Yes.
at the time, full time. And now you're just starting to get the ball rolling, and then the market crashes. So now it's like, okay, well, you have a little bit of the savings that you had kept me going along the way. The savings that the money that I made a lot, like, for those 2 years, kept me going till the whole recession. We came out of the whole bump in the road with the U.S.
Yeah.
And then from there, like, it just kind of went. So then, we were at a good pace. the market changed, interest rates came low, people were doing more transactions, people were buying and selling. So by the grace of God, like I made it through that little storm.
Yes.
And then from there on out, it just started to grow. And then, 2000, that was 2008. And then in 2015, we had another bump in the market. So that took a little bit of a hit. And then now in the pandemic, when we had the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll see the bumps along the way, but these are all bumps that you go through as an independent agent, trying to navigate all the things that needs to happen, not just with with me personally, but with also all the clients that I'm helping with in terms of like, what do they need to do to navigate through their scenarios? Yes. It's a good ride. I enjoy what I do. I'm good at what I do, and people value what I do, which is nice. But it's 20 years is a long time. Like as I think about it, and I'm like, man, I didn't realize it's even 20 since you're asking me now.
Yeah. So like even during COVID, like how did you maneuver that?
COVID, I was super busy. I was so busy to the point where I would be on the phone from 9 in the morning till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, sometimes 11. And people were home. People had time to talk. People couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool in a way.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You got to kind of, you had to use up a lot of your time because you don't know what was going to happen day by day, right?
Yeah.
Like if things were going to open up or not. But it was really busy. A lot of people bought. Interest rates, came down.
Yeah.
Values of homes went up. So there's still a lot of activity happening.
Oh, wow.
And then the reverse has now happened. Now interest rates went up way too fast.
Yes.
Too high, too fast, and now we're backtracking, and the dust is trying to settle at this point with what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
But it was really busy during COVID.
That's a shock.
It was really, really busy during COVID. So it worked out.
Wow. I thought you should close off because it looks like a lot of businesses were down.
Yeah, a lot of businesses were down for sure. But there's still a lot of people who were working full time that were working at home from home as opposed to in the office, that were taking a little bit more time out of their day to really get a better understanding of is this something they can do? Like, can they afford to buy? Some were also looking to upsize. Some were still looking to downsize. People's kids, when they get to a certain age, they typically will move to other areas based on the school system that they're looking for.
I admire your journey. It's really, really touching, and I'm proud of you. But now, help us. How did you save money while you're in school? Like, how did you plan yourself to say, I need this amount of money, I'm paying school, I'm doing? Like, how did you?
Oh, I was very budget oriented from that point in time. Everything, all of my expenses, I knew exactly what it was. And I would write it out all the time. And if it changed, so anything that I bought, I would put it into a spreadsheet every day. So that way I can see like where I'm spending my money, and how much I'm spending on a monthly basis.
Wow.
And then I would factor in how many hours do I need to work to be able to make that money.
No way.
And then I would schedule myself based on school and all the other things around it. Like I play a lot of sports. So sports I had to cut out, mind you, but I enjoyed playing sports. But then I would time myself around those two factors. What's my schedule? How much money am I? How much is my expenditure? And how many hours do I need to work to make that payment? Yeah. So I wasn't really saving.
Yes.
Right? Because I was still in school, right, at the time. I just wanted to make sure that I was budgeting myself accordingly. But then it got easier. Like after second year, then I had a better job, a higher paying job. It was really cool. Like I was working for the government, and, what I would work in 5 hours is what someone would make in 8 hours. Wow. So I was like, okay, I'll take this job. Like it's a 5, but it was night shift, right? From 12 at night till 5 in the morning. Yeah. So I would do that. Which was really cool because it helped me along the way. And then I would start to save, a little here, a little there, start saving. And then once I finished school and I got my full-time job, then I was saving. Yeah.
How can you help?
So I would always, the rule of thumb typically is to put the 10%. So that's what I followed.
Okay.
Right. I just followed the 10% rule, and I started putting it aside. But then when that pot grows, you're almost like, well, where do I put this money now? Because I have it in a savings account, but now you want to move it somewhere else into, maybe a bond or a stock, right? That it'll make money on that money.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. And then I would start investing just on the bond side, like just, make 3-4%. It wasn't much, but it was better than sitting in the bank. But if you have, depending on the savings, like you can always invest that money into real estate, right? As a joint venture, for example. So that's what we show people as well. Like there's some people that can't afford to buy a home, but they do have, they don't have all the money for the down payment, but they'll have some for the down payment. So we'll put two people together and say, okay, well, combine your incomes, combine your down payment money that you've saved, and you guys buy a property together as a joint venture is what we call it. So that way you're getting into the market. So when I think you had asked earlier, is it better to rent or to live in a home?
Yeah.
In this scenario, if you're buying a property together, you can either live in it together and pay, or you rent it out and you live wherever you're living. You may be living at home, you may be renting somewhere for a cheaper price, but at least you've got into the market and you've joint ventured with someone else to get into the market. So that was one of the things that one of my friends were doing at the time, is he was just doing joint ventures.
Yeah.
So we got into the joint venture space. We started building our pots, like as we were saving our money, because we had now had full-time jobs, pooled our money together, and then started buying, investing in real estate, but with partners, right? So there'll be 2 or 3 of us on one, or there'll be 2 of us on one, like that.
And that helps you with your credit anyways, right?
Well, it helps you with your credit. It helps you building like your equity. The property is going to appreciate in value. Renters are going to be paying down the rents for you, your mortgage for you. So over time, it's like in 5 years. At the time, 5 years, we did get about a 7% appreciation on the property.
Yeah.
But then as the tenants are also paying down the mortgage for you as well too, right? So everything in between is what we call equity, which is your profit.
Yeah.
So we would make that profit, and then we would go and reuse that money to go buy another property.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I say, like, when we're showing people how to do it, it's more so to make sure that they understand the risks that are involved.
Yeah.
And if they have the stomach for it, like if they have the thickness of skin for it.
Boldness, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I always hear that like to invest, you need boldness. You can't just go in if you don't take the step and be bold. So I think that also goes well with like investing in anything. Right? It's not only in stocks, but I feel like in everything you do, you have to have the boldness to take the step. So what is something, lastly, would you tell the people who are watching you? You want to tell them something that can help them.
Just get started. Like, do your homework, do your research, build your team of experts. Make sure that you've got your real estate agent, your lawyer, your accountant, your mortgage broker. If you need a home inspector, we can all the people that you need involved in that transaction. Build those rapports first. Get them all in place. Put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Meaning, get pre-approved. Understand what your requirements are. If you don't have them, let's work towards them. Understand all the things that you need, work towards what it is. Once you get it, then you can move forward and you're ready to buy. Right? So it's more of a little bit of a starter just to get you going.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for always following. Please follow Chris on social media. Ask him any question you have. If you're interested to know more about saving, and as he was sharing about credits, and also he's a mortgage agent. He's really special on that one. He told you already he has his own company. So, and you want to open maybe a company or you want to go to school for that, please ask him any question. He's a good person. So thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day.